Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture number 6. In this lecture, we will study about principles of school management. And in principle of school management, there are some principles like planning principles, organizing principles, staffing principles, directing principles, controlling principles. And then at the end, we shall study about scope and subject matter of school management. First of all, in principle of school management, we know that a principle, this is a generation that is widely accepted as a true system. A goal of serious thinkers in any discipline is to develop principles about the subject with which they are concerned. Harold Fuel, one of the main contributors to the evaluation of management, strongly advocated the development of management principles. So, why are principles useful? So, principles are useful to managers for several reasons. First of all, they help managers to make more accurate decisions. To the extent that managers can apply principles in any situations and eliminate guesswork, sounder decisions should result. And in second, by principles save time. If one learns principles of management in school, for example, less experience is required to become an effective manager. Discussions can be made more rapidly and accurately when principles provide guidelines for actions. And third one is that principles enable the people to may pass no information from one generation to the next. So, great waste occurs when a generation must learn through experience alone what a previous generations had already learned through its experience. So, to the extent that principle can be developed and applied, thus waste can be reduced. The issue for debate in this unit discusses the importance of experience versus that of formal education and moving ahead in management. So, we can say that management theories and practitioners are not in complete agreement as to whether management principles have been developed or indeed can be developed. So, this lack of agreement is both understandable and intellectually healthy as it helps to stimulate debate and research. So, why are there exceptions to management principles? So, the point of view taken in this text is that some management principles have been discovered and more will be developed as research and contemplations about management continues. However, management principles cannot be formulated with the same precision as physical science principles. So, there are exceptions to the principle which the behavior of people rather than principles involving physics or chemistry. First of all, planning principles. In planning principles, first of all, principle of the primary objectives means planning should begin the clear-cut statement of the primary goal. Without knowledge of an organization's basics, senior manager will not make full use of the organization's human material and financial resources. Principles of adequate alternative. The greater the number and variety of alternatives presented to solve a problem, so the greater the likelihood that the manager will make an acceptable decisions. Often the manager do not think deeply enough about problem to discover all logical alternatives to its solutions. So there may be, for example, many alternatives for decreasing cost or increasing revenues. The next in principle planning principles, there is a principles of contingencies. Means a plan should have built into the prescribed actions to cover contingencies. In other words, management should be prepared for unexpected yet possible events. Sometimes we normally have heard the term contingencies fund. Contingencies fund means that we have some money or a special money is to be given to the schools, that in case of any unexpected events if happens in the schools or college or institutions, so that money is being utilized for that purpose. Then the organizing principles. In organizing principles, first of all, there is a unity of command principle. That means that when an individual reports to the single supervisor, so personal accountability for performance should be clear. In practice, however, people often report several supervisions. This leads to confusions, divided attentions, and other problems. Adequacy of authority principles means sufficient authority to accomplish a task should be given to the persons who is accountable for the results. So people often are given a goal but are not given enough power or authority to achieve it. So a supervisor, for example, may be told to increase production significantly but may not be authorized to have employees work overtime. Then the other point is that is scalar, means chain of command principle. When the line of authority from the most senior executive flows clearly to each succeeding lower level positions, fixations of responsibility and accountability is easily understood. Often, however, this principle is violated and some people in an organizations are confused about their reporting relationships. So remember that always there must be hierarchy in the organizations and everybody must have must know about their responsibilities so that they may follow their chain of command, and in this way the problems remain solved. Principle, that is staffing principles. This is clear from the name that staffing means when the personnel are having the such training. So first of all, we say that principles of developing a successor means each manager should train subordinate to be ready to take over his or her job temporarily or permanently while other violated. So this principle is basic to effective management. Often there is no backup persons able to fill manager positions after he or she resigns, is promoted, becomes ill or terminated. Principle of manager evaluation means managers are best evaluated in terms of the results they achieve. So the principle is easiest way to apply when results are quantifiable. Then principle of management development. Since perfection in management is unattainable, so there is always room for from a manager to improve. So thereof an organizational eliminates that encourages additional training and development should be created. Then directing principles. It involves principles of harmony of objectives. A manager's personal goals should be in harmony with the organization's objectives. Obviously, a manager who is determined to perform work not in direct support of an organization's objectives violated these principles. Now, the next one is principles of managers' examples. Means people are inclined to follow the examples set by a manager. Implementation of this principle requires manager to ask, am I setting the kind of example I want the others to follow? The other principle, that is principle of motivation. Money and other financial benefits are always incomplete as a motivational force. Psychological incentives are always required to develop the highest level of motivation. Personnel want such things as challenging work and compatible workers in addition to financial benefits. Then controlling principles is there, like principle of standards. A standard should be set for all activities. What is acceptable should be defined clearly and precisely as possible for all tasks. Then principle of measurement of performance. Standards are useless unless actual performance is measured and compared against the standards. So measurement may take many forms, but regardless of the methods, an activity should be evaluated. And principle of corrective action is there, means when measurement of performance indicates a standard is not being met, so appropriate corrective actions should be taken. Failure to correct what is wrong leads to wastage of human and other resources. Now, the last topic, that is scope and subject matter of school management. It means that economical use of time, man, money, and material resources to perform the different functions to school to achieve determined objective is called school management. So, school management can be divided into the following, like following subject matters may be included in the school management, which is called the scope in area of school management, like management of school plant, management of curricular and co-curricular activities, management and development of human resource, school staff and students, and management of financial resources. Now we can discuss these aspects of school management in some detail, like management of school plant. It means the school plant is comprehensive term, meaning building, playground, furniture, equipment, library, and laboratory, and so on. So all these meant a school plant. So all the physical facilities that are required for achieving the various objectives of school constitutes the school plant. The systematic applications, management principles for optimum utilization of school plants to achieve the objectives of education are called management of school plants. Then management of curricular and co-curricular activities, means different educators have defined the term curriculum in different ways. Therefore, no single definition is available in educational literature. CARE has defined curriculum as like all the learning which is planned and guided by the school, whether it is carried on in the group or individually, inside the schools or outside it. So he further stated that the curriculum may be divided into 4 interrelated components, like curriculum objectives, knowledge, learning experiences, and curriculum evaluation. So keeping in view the curriculum objectives, the selection and planning of knowledge, organization of learning experiences through teaching learning process, and making value judgment about the achievement of curriculum objectives in the school is called management of curricular activities, has changed, and all sound development of the child has been the objectives of education. So there are many co-curricular activities such as games, sports, scouting, hiking, debates, essay writing, workshops, symposiums, competitions, role playing, discussions, seminars, so which are helpful for the comprehensive development of co-curricular activities. Management of human resource. Human resource, we all know that this is related to the humans. So human resource of schools are students, teaching staff, and non-teaching staff. So no school is better than its teachers. The proper planning and organization of teaching, learning activities are only possible by seeking cooperations, willingness, and involvement, fellow feeling, and devotions by the teachers, students, librarians, assistants, PNs, is always beneficial and helpful to achieve the objectives of education. So this process of human interaction is the main purpose of management for the development of human resource within the boundaries of the schools. Then management of financial resources. One of the main aspects of school management is utilization and development of financial resources. The cooperation of community and government is essential. However, for utilization of funds, proper budgeting, accounting, and audit system is required. Moreover, to frame transparent policies, plans, rules, and regulations, the guidance of government and the help in counseling should be made. It was all about the second unit. Hopefully you have subscribed my channel, and still if you didn't subscribe, so please subscribe this channel and share with your friends. This knowledge is very helpful for educators, teachers, educationists, so utilize it in your own way, and if there are some flaws, guide me through comments. And if you want to study this material in Urdu, so I have given the links in description, so you can find out there. Thank you, take care, Allah Hafiz.